What's up, guys? It's Josh back here from Dark Rift 14. Here we got a deck profile today for ABCs from Will King over here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, correct.
So, I guess without further ado, we should probably just get straight into it.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we're going to be covering today, we'll go ahead and get through these monsters. We've got 3A, and then 3B, and 3C. I think like the way that things are shaping up right now, you need to run 3 of each. The only one that I would personally maybe cut to 2 is A because he's the least useful one. Now that we're in the link format, C is probably the best one because he just gives you that special summon when you link summon with him. But also B is a great little starter piece. So those are the ratios that I would personally recommend for the ABC pieces, just 3, 3, 3. No more, no less. And then
I figured it was a little bit weird for them to not play 3 of each.
I think you can't play more than 3 of each. So.
Well, yeah. So I mean, if you wanted to run 4C, go for it. Honestly. Next, we've got 2 gold gadget and 2 silver gadget. So these gadgets are a part of the 3-card combo that you would like to see every turn. I didn't want to run 3 of each because seeing multiples of one gadget is kind of eh. But all it is that you need 1 piece, gadget, and hanger, and that's going to give you an ending board of Decode Buster. Through the process, you're going to end up making Underclock Taker into Decode, and then you'll still get a search off of B, so you'll have a card in hand for fodder for the banish. So that's what I would personally recommend. And then for the hand traps, we have 2 Ash and 2 Ogre. I personally only like to run 2 of each hand trap. That's my personal preference. I see them way too often when I run them at 3. But at 2, I see them just enough for me to be effective on my opponent's turn.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. They seem to be sort of like the perfect ratios for the hand traps nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. And Ash isn't as good as she used to be, or at least in the format right now, with Pen Magician being as good as they are. So that's what I would recommend keeping her at until a ban list comes.
What ban list?
That's the thing.
No sooner than April 1st.
As we say, what's today? Like May? Today is May.
May 13th.
May 13th.
May 13th at the time of recording this video, and it's
still not here, boys.
Day 43.
And then for the spell cards, we have 3 hanger, of course, and then 3 terraforming, so you're essentially playing the 6 hangers. You need to see hanger at all costs. If you don't, then you're in a pretty bad position, honestly. For the other spells, we have 2 desires, 2 twin twisters, and 2 forbidden chalice. 2 desires because I'm not very confident in my abilities of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! To play 3 because I always banish a lot of pieces. 2 twin twisters, it clears out a lot of back rows, especially against True Draco. It's extremely good. Getting rid of scales with Pen Magician's good. And then Forbidden Chalice, we're still, as we said, we haven't got the ban list yet, so we're still in that kind of like boss monster heavy sort of meta right now, and being able to stop a Vortex Dragon so you can just essentially make your plays all the way through. If they have a Masterpiece that's immune to monsters and traps, you can activate Chalice and then just get rid of them with your traps or maybe a monster. So those are for the 2 ofs, and then the other ones are 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Scapegoat. Monster Reborn's pretty, that you don't need to explain. 1 Scapegoat because there's a lot of the times, if you don't open hanger, Scapegoat is a great way to just put a lot of like monster presence on board because of course he has the 1-card Borreload. But you don't want to see him that often because if you open your combo and you also open Scapegoat, it's kind of dead because essentially what you would rather be tagging Buster out than summoning your Scapegoat tokens in the end phase. So that's why I only play 1 of them because he's just kind of bad to see. But I do recommend playing 1 because he does have that extra present. And then for these spooky trap cards, we've got 3 strike, 1 warning, 1 judgment.
Wow, that's a lot of life points to pay.
That is a lot of life points, but I mean, to be honest with you, with the other cards, the other trap cards that I play of 3 torrential and 1 skill drain, these 2 cards right here out any board. I don't care what you have, this outs it. And then torrential is really good in the deck right now because it. With some cards that I play in the extra deck, a lot of the times Torrential is just free. You don't lose any of your monsters, but your opponent loses all of theirs. I really do like the counter traps because sometimes just Buster and Decode Talker is against the meta, so you need that extra bit to kind of like stop your opponent. Skill Drain is pretty self-explanatory, honestly.
Yeah, you can play around it, so
yeah, Buster.
If other people can't, then why not play it?
Exactly. So that's it for the main deck is 40 cards. So let's go ahead and get into the extra deck right now. I figured it would be pretty good to mention right now. I'm not playing any of the Nightmare cards so far, purely because right now, even though they just are freshly on release, we do not have Needle Fiber, we do not have Summon Sorceress, so making the Nightmare combos is only possible with Scapegoat, and most of the time, Borreload is better than the Nightmare cards right now, because Borreload outs everything.
That's fair.
So then we have 3 ABC Dragon Buster. He is your boss monster, so you play him.
The Cherries target, right?
Yes, he is also a Cherries target, so thank goodness for the mirror match. Then for the rank 4s, we have Utopia the Lightning, 1 Tornado Dragon, and 1 Tsukiyomi. I was originally playing Diamond Dire Wolf, but I ended up cutting him out because Lightning is so good right now. Being able just to get over a lot of bigger monsters, if they make something that is bigger than your Buster, that is pretty scary. And also, there's a lot of, especially against Trickstars, one thing that I notice is that, so you can just make, Underclock Taker, and say they just have a Licorice or a Lilybell on field, use Underclock's effect on Lightning, and then you can get rid of their, put the attack down to 0, and then you attack over for 5,000, which is really good in that matchup right now.
Yeah. Real quick, I've seen a lot of people opt not to play Tsukiyomi. Do you still see it as, a viable option?
The reason that I play Tsukiyomi, it seems a little obscure, but there's a 4-card combo. And then there's also times where, your extra deck dwindles down really quickly. But sometimes if I just have pieces in my hand and I have the ability to make Tsukiyomi, I'll make Tsukiyomi, I'll pitch my hand and hope to draw into trap cards a lot of the time just so I can be defensive for the next turn. Also, with that 4-card combo I was speaking of, if you open up one of each gadget and then a piece and hanger, you can go through your normal combo with making Decode Buster, but instead of making Underclock along the way, you can make Underclock and then make Tsukiyomi underneath it, so you can hope to draw into more trap cards. So that's why I opted to play him. He's actually a really good card still. And then Tornado Dragon, he pops back row, so you want to play him. But that's all for the XZs that I play. And then for the Link monsters, we have 1 Clara and Rushka, the Ventrilla duo. I play her because if you go second, Hanger and I think it's Hanger and a gadget she helps you make Buster. So that's why I play her when you're going second. And then the Borreload pieces are the 2 Link Spiders and the Proxy Dragon. I really don't use those for anything outside of, well, I may use Proxy Dragon sometimes, but all that is just for Scapegoat. And also, a lot of the times, going into Game 2 and Game 3, I'll side the Scapegoat out, and I'll take these out in the extra deck to put in my Cherries targets.
That's fair.
Then we have the Underclock Taker and Qliphort Genius. This is the best Link 2 that we could have ever asked for in ABC. He's immune to Link Monsters effects, spell cards, and trap cards, so that really comes into play with Torrential Tribute, because a lot of the times if I didn't open Hanger and I just have a gadget and a piece, I can just make him, set my Torrential, and pass. So you're able to keep board presence on board while stopping your opponent from doing any shake and bake kind of stuff. Underclock Taker is pretty good. He's the worst of the Link 2s, but his effect is still pretty decent. Just being able to bring a monster, decrease its attack so you can attack for big numbers is good. And then Decode Talker and Borreload Dragon. So Decode is just a part of the combo. He's the best Link 3 to be making right now. I know the Topologic, Topologic Transbania or something like that.
Yeah, Transbania, the one that's banishes all the spells and traps?
Yeah, him. I really haven't looked into playing him so far, but I might actually look into maybe putting in another Link 3 in the deck. So, but that's what I have right now for the Link monsters. Going to the side deck, we have 3 Artifact Lancia. He protects you from evenly matched. He protects you from... he's okay against Trickstars. If they have the Reincarnation, he can stop that.
You ever find he conflicts with Buster?
No, not really. Because a lot of the times, if I have him or Buster out, of course, I'm going to opt to use that. Because a lot of the times, Lancia is kind of a win button against some of these decks when I do bring him in. Like against Trickstar, if they can't use the Reincarnation, so I'll just, I'd rather pitch the Lancia than have Buster banish anything. So,
okay.
Just so I can keep my hand afloat and not have any shit go south.
That's fair.
And then we have 3 cherries. Now these are the hand traps that I run 3 of. I wouldn't recommend Ash or Ogre being a 3 of. I do these because these are win buttons a lot of the times. If you can stop your opponent's deck from doing what it does best, then I recommend playing 3 of it. And then for the targets, we have the Phantom Quartz and Electromite. FTKs are a thing. I don't like being FTK'd. I'm salty, sore loser. So
you and everyone else.
yeah. So that stops the FTKs, and that just stops a regular Pin Magician deck. So that's what I have in there right now. And
yeah, and then there's the Buster, and you can even do it for the Borreload too.
yeah, I can do it for Buster, Borreload. Like, there's a lot of things in my extra deck that also just kind of double in. And then spells, we have the Regeki, the Dark Hole, just board wipes. 3D Barrier, this is for the Rogue, Pin Magician. I'll go ahead and put those out there too. So a lot of the times, Anti-Spell is, of course, it's a win button against Pinwheel Magicians. So we don't really have to talk about that much. But this is good against Rogue, it's good against Pinwheel Magician, it's good against Rogue and Pinwheel Magician. So there we go, guys. You just call Pinwheel on them, and you hope to win. And these are my tokens right here. That's Seth Rollins, but this is Call from Monster. So that's going to be all for the deck profile, and I hope you guys have a good one.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Like any shout-outs, anything?
Shout out to Shannon for getting my mind right on these hand trap ratios, and shout out to Josh for featuring me on this channel here today.
All right, sweet. All right, remember to like and subscribe, guys.